All right, here we are. We just came in from the front porch area, and it leads us into the formal living and dining room areas. And you can see we've got, actually it's luxury vinyl planking that carries on from the living room to the dining room and then into the kitchen. These are Window World windows, my favorites. I love them. And you can see the Window World happens to be right there. You can read it. And we just love ours. They're really nice. The other thing I want you to be aware of is when you're looking at these openings, these are 7-foot doors. You've got about a 2-foot area above. So we've got at least 9-foot ceilings in here, which is really nice. And the walls and you got some cracking in this ceiling above here, but I've certainly seen a lot worse as far as that goes. One thing I would note to you too is that this is probably on an ungrounded system, but for example, here's a GFCI that they've installed, which acts like a grounded system. We've got a GFCI here, over here. We've got one here, and then we've got one here. So the deal is, let's say you have a youngster in there and they stick a coat hanger into one of those holes. It's going to trip and it's not going to kill them. But it will kill your equipment if there's a surge. So you're still not totally covered. We're going to go back in here into the kitchen, and you'll note we have like a blue on white type of deal. And basically they painted the cabinets and put new hardware on. They've got a piece of granite or something with an undermount sink, which they updated, which is kind of nice. And I don't see that there is there is. We've got a disposal in there too, so that's good. I don't know where one turns it on. Hopefully it would be right there. And it looks like we've got GFCIs around the water sources, so that's good. Jeepers, is this an old time? Well, they made it look like an old time microwave. And then of course, as far as the kitchen goes, is it functionally up to speed? And I'm going to show you the ceiling fan above. It is not, because most of these stoves will have a microwave above. Generally, there'll be a microwave in here, and I don't see a lot of room to put a microwave. But, I mean, they're doing the best they can with this. It looks like they have a storage area back in this area here, just for a broom closet and some light pantry stuff. Then they got another thing up there. This is a no-no. You should have a toggle lock instead of having to put a key in it, just from a fire standpoint. And ultimately, this will take us down to the basement. So I'm going to take you back here. Bedroom number 1 is in the front of the house. It looks out into the porch. There's no overhead light fixture in there, although there is there's a couple of lights here. And I think back in the day, that could have been where they had gas. And they've got one there, so that's kind of a nice touch. And the other thing I would tell you, they put the barn door in, and then actually the closet has better depth on it than I thought it would have. I'm unsure what I'm dealing with here, but they've got a light bulb here with some stuff hanging. I don't know how that all works. And they've got some kind of access thing here that I'm not sure about at this point yet. And of course, this is all carpet here. I imagine there'd be wood floors underneath. And this actually leads us to private bath access. This bath is basically serving as a Jack and Jill bath. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that if you've got guests, then somebody's going to have to be able to lock a door. And I can tell you straight up, if I'm in this front bedroom, then I can close this barn door and then I can lock this other one. But if they're coming in to use it, they can't necessarily lock your barn door here. So that's where if you're in the back bedroom, and they do have a light fixture in here, but if you're in this back bedroom and you have to use the restroom, then that's where you yell out to them, "Hey, I'm in here." That'd be the only thing I'd be aware of how to do it. Now they've got this thing hanging, this system here, which for me, it's fine. It works out. They can do a shower in here and make that work. And then they've got single vanity and a stool. And they've got a GFCI here. And let's double check on this thing to see if we've got, now see on this, these are 3 prongs, but do not assume these are grounded. Here's one that's a 2-prong, and it is, I can tell you, it's not grounded, and yet they do have a GFCI here. So they did install some of them. And usually near water, places with water, you've got to have a GFCI, so they do have that feature here. And then in here, they have a GFCI right here, GFCI here. So you've got some that are, I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Let's take a look at this closet here. And again, there it is. I think that could be the access. How anybody's going to get up there to take a look, I have no idea. Hopefully there's another access point that I haven't seen as yet. Just want to take a quick look here. You're looking out, where that tree is touching the roof. The walls and ceilings look pretty good overall. They really do. And let's go back through here again. I want to make sure. That could be the only access upstairs from what I'm seeing here, unless there's another one that I'm missing, which you really want to have decent access to get up there. There's certainly nothing there. And going up here, as you go down the basement, there's nothing there either. All right, so we're gonna head down. I'm unsure what this thing is, but it's painted shut. And so let's head down to the basement. So, as is typical with many houses of this vintage, you've either got a stone or block foundation. This happens to be a block foundation. I look at these throw rugs down here as promoting mold. The less of these, the good thing about it is these are loose. You can roll them up if they get wet, and you should be good to go. And I don't know what the disclosure says as yet, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they're saying they've had water in the home. This foundation wall looks pretty plumb. It doesn't look too bad. And of course, you guys don't have anything to compare with, but at some point we're going to get in one that's not good, and you'll see what I mean. This discoloration here is a really good example of, you can call it mold if you want, but I call it discoloration, some form of mildew. And keep in mind, these concrete blocks, they all have cavities in them. When you get periods of heavy sustained rains, those cavities can build up water in them too. And water, it always goes downhill, so you're going to see this stuff at the base. But I'm glad we can look at that, because They've just kind of cleaned this up and painted the walls, which is probably what I'd be inclined to do too. In fact, on my stone foundation, we actually back plaster the stone and then have to take care of that every few years or so. So here we are in the remaining part of the basement here. And we've got a high efficiency furnace. And I can tell that because of the PVC intake and also the PVC exhaust. And this is what was protruding outside. And I can show you where it's going straight out. It goes straight out the back here. They got kind of a pretty cool tool bench if you're into those things. And then we've got a water heater here, 20 of 17 it looks like. And it is not high efficiency. And the reason I know this is because they have to exhaust their hot gases through a chimney. So that's what that's showing. Now, you guys had questions about asbestos. Here's a good example. This wrap here is probably some form of asbestos. Now, if you want to protect yourselves, you can do like these folks did, and I think they may have painted over the top of it or taped over the top of it with, I would use duct tape. I would use something that the furnace guys use. That's a real shiny tape that they use on duct work. But up in here, this might be an area where you want to throw an extra amount of paint in there so that you can encapsulate it that way. So that's where you're going to find asbestos on some of these properties. As long as it's not breaking down, you're okay, I think. But again, you might want to do some research on it to determine how you feel about that. Now, the other thing is, you notice how this wall here goes straight away from this wall here. And that's because the screen porch is on the other side of that wall upstairs. And then they've got this nice thing here. I'm looking for drill holes. I'm not seeing any as far as termites go. So I think we're probably okay there. Here's the gas meter actually looks somewhat newer. So that's a good thing. And I would like to see where the water is to see if they've got some newer water service. Because remember though, what that neighbor was saying, they actually got some new water service. So that was good. Here's their radon pipe. And again, you see this gauge. That gauge is not measuring radon. It's measuring pressure. So if I pull this out, and you can hear the suction underneath this concrete slab here, and if you see those like that, where they're equal, that tells you your fan's not running, but it's not measuring radon. So I'm going to return this, and you can see how it's offset. So now the pressure is changing that. So that's kind of what we've got going on there. Here's your sewer clean out. And again, based on what that neighbor said, that doesn't surprise me because the sewer may go right out into the alley. And here's your water service right here. Now these are lead pipe. We changed all ours out inside, my gosh, in the 1980s. We pulled every bit of lead pipe out and replaced it with copper. But we've still got lead pipe coming in from the street. So, and they can read your water meter now. They don't even have to go in. I think that could be a newer looking water line, but I can't tell you for sure. The valve is definitely newer looking, so that's a plus. And as far as the electrical goes, we've got a Cutler hammer box here. And I kind of like those. Let me see if I can tell the amperage on it. 70 there. So we'd have to have someone tell us what we're actually dealing with. Typical should be 100 amp service in a residential setting. especially with the demands for electricity nowadays. Now here's your electrical meter, and then it goes through this box, and then it comes into this panel. And so I don't know if 100 amp is coming in from here. I can't tell. And the only way we'd be able to find out is if we had a whole house inspection done, or had either an electrician or a whole house guy take a look at it and tell us what we've really got. So that's kind of where we're at. But with that, foundation's good. I don't see any place to put another bath unless you chose to try to put one down here. But the walls are good. What I really like on these old homes, if you look at the support structure, and what I mean by that is the walls and then also the main beam running through. And you can see every place that there's a support beam or supporting the beam, that's where they go. And that's what I like to see. If I go into a house with a lot of additional jack posts in them, that concerns me, because that's telling me that puppy's probably sagging quite a bit. They do have MetroNet too, which we absolutely love ours. It's far better than MediaCom or some of the others we've had. So with that, I'm finished, and I'll get this out to you. Oh, by the way, here's more asbestos, or that wrapped pipe, and here's where I think they probably encapsulated this stuff or painted it, one of the two, as you can see it all along here. All right, I'm finished.